Donald Trump on Saturday said it will be a bloodbath for the United States if he doesn't win in November. Now, if I don't get elected, it's gonna be a bloodbath. That's going to be the least of it, Trump said during a rally near Dayton, Ohio. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. While it was unclear what the former president meant exactly, the remarks came as Trump was complaining about the automobile industry. He then returned to telling the crowd that China would not be able to sell any vehicles imported into the U.S. if he wins re-election. Trump frequently paints a dark picture of the country as he lays out his case against President Joe Biden ahead of November's presidential rematch. And he often employs increasingly heightened rhetoric when addressing the felony charges he is facing in his efforts.
As you come on to the page, kindly hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thank you.
Efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election in the run-up to the January 6, 2021, attack on the Capitol. The events of January 6 are a heavy presence throughout his campaign events, as Trump continues to decry the election he lost 4 years ago. As he often does, Trump opened Saturday's rally with a recording of January 6 prisoners singing the national anthem. Saluting the crowd, Trump then said he would issue pardons for the Trump-supporting hostages on the first day of his presidency. You see the spirit from the hostages. And that's what they are, hostages, Trump said in the opening words of his rally. The Biden-Trump rematch is set to be an ugly race, in which both candidates will elevate the Capitol attack. Biden has continued to invoke January 6 in his own speeches, warning that the outcome in November matters for the fate of democracy. The attack remains a political danger for Republicans and Trump's campaign this year. The events of January 6 are a heavy presence throughout his campaign events, as Trump continues to decry the election he lost 4 years ago. As he often does, Trump opened Saturday's rally with a recording of January 6 prisoners singing the national anthem. Saluting the crowd, Trump then said he would issue pardons for the Trump-supporting hostages on the first day of his presidency. You see the spirit from the hostages. And that's what they are, hostages, Trump said in the opening words of his rally. The Biden-Trump rematch is set to be an ugly race, in which both candidates will elevate the Capitol attack. Biden has continued to invoke January 6 in his own speeches, warning that the outcome in November matters for the fate of democracy. The attack remains a political danger for Republicans and Trump's campaign this year. Former Vice President Mike Pence broke with Trump on Friday, announcing that he would not endorse him in 2024. On Jan. 6, Trump supporters at the Capitol called for Pence to be hanged after Trump made him a target for his refusal to aid efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The Biden campaign seized on Trump's Saturday remarks. This is who Donald Trump is. A loser who gets beat by over 7 million votes and then instead of appealing to a wider mainstream audience doubles down on his threats of political violence, Biden campaign spokesperson James Singer said in a statement. Former President Donald Trump claimed that he, not President Biden, will protect Social Security and warned of a bloodbath if he loses in November as he campaigned for Senate candidate Bernie Moreno in Ohio over the weekend.
According to CBS News,
Trump used the stage to deliver a profanity-filled version of his usual rally speech that again painted an apocalyptic picture of the country if Biden wins a second term. If I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country, he warned, while talking about the impact of offshoring on the country's auto industry and his plan to impose a 100% tariff on foreign-made cars. Later, Trump said, if this election isn't won, I'm not sure that you'll ever have another election in this country. Trump repeatedly noted his difficulty reading from his teleprompters, which could be seen visibly whipping in 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts. In a statement in response to Trump's bloodbath comments Saturday, James Singer, spokesperson for the Biden presidential campaign, said that Trump wants another January 6th, but the American people are going to give him another electoral defeat this November because they continue to reject his extremism, his affection for violence, and his thirst for revenge.
according to CBS News.
Back to U.S. politics now. This weekend on the campaign trail, former President Donald Trump said some migrants are, quote, not people, and warned of a, quote, bloodbath if he loses in November. His rhetoric is drawing new scrutiny tonight, including from President Joe Biden's campaign. CBS's Skylar Henry is at the White House with more on that. Skylar, good evening.
Hey, Jerika, good evening to you. President Biden spent St. Patrick's Day here at the White House. The rhetoric from him and Donald Trump is under the microscope, with some slamming the former president's comments this weekend on several different issues, while their respective re-election campaigns also traded barbs as this likely rematch takes shape. President Biden sounded off on Donald Trump at the annual Gridiron Dinner in Washington Saturday night. At the off-camera event, he took aim at the former president's repeated stance on the 2020 election results, saying in part, embracing the January 6th insurrectionists pose the gravest threat to our democracy. But as this war of words continues, some are questioning former President Trump's rhetoric on the campaign trail, referring to January 6th rioters as hostages.
And that's what they are, as hostages. They've been treated terribly and very unfairly.
Mike Pence weighed in on what ex-President Donald Trump said.
Very unfortunate at a time that there are American hostages being held in Gaza, that the president or any other leaders would refer to people that are moving through our justice system as hostages.
The Biden campaign seized on this moment, slamming Trump, who at a rally in Ohio said this after talking about tariffs on Chinese-made cars.
Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Louisiana Republican Senator Bill Cassidy, at times critical of the former president, weighed in.
He's running against Biden, so Biden's going to say it's about political violence. His defenders want to defend him, and so they're going to say it's about economic disaster. There's always just that little bit of tension there.
When reached by CBS News in an attempt to clarify Trump's bloodbath remark, Jason Miller, senior advisor for the Trump campaign, responded that any reporter that falls for this Biden camp spin is stupid. In a social media post on Monday, Trump said the media pretended to be shocked at my use of the word bloodbath, even though they fully understood that I was simply referring to imports. In that full portion of his remarks, he said, "Let me tell you something, to China, if you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now. And you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans and you're going to sell the cars as, no. We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line and you're not going to be able to sell those cars if I get elected. Now if I don't get elected, it's gonna be a bloodbath for the whole, that's gonna be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That will be the least of it." Saturday's rally was hosted by Buckeye Values PAC, a group backing Moreno's Senate candidacy against Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRossi and Ohio State Sen. Matt Dolan in Tuesday's GOP primary. LaRossi and Moreno have aligned themselves with the pro-Trump faction of the party, while Dolan is backed by more establishment Republicans, including Governor Mike DeWine and former Sen. Rob Portman. Trump also dismissed recent allegations against Moreno, comparing them to attacks he has faced through the years, including his criminal indictments. Trump has been charged in 4 separate cases that span his handling of classified documents to his efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. "He's getting some very tough Democrat fake treatment right now," Trump said. "And we're not going to stand for it because I know this man. We all know this man. He's a hero, he's a winner. And we're not going to let these people are sick." The Associated Press reported on Thursday that in 2008, someone with access to Moreno's work email account created a profile on an adult website. The AP could not definitively confirm that it was created by Moreno himself. Moreno's lawyer said a former intern created the account and provided a statement from the intern, Dan Ritchie, who said he created the account as part of a juvenile prank. Questions about the profile have circulated in GOP circles for the past month, sparking frustration among senior Republican operatives about Moreno's potential vulnerability in a general election, according to 7 people who are directly familiar with conversations about how to address the matter. They requested anonymity to avoid running afoul of Trump and his allies.
According to CBS.
Trump, in his remarks, also accused Mr. Biden of posing a threat to Social Security as he continued to clean up comments from an interview earlier this week in which he appeared to voice openness to cuts. "Your Social Security is going to be gone," he warned of a Biden second term, even though Biden has pledged to protect and strengthen Social Security as it faces a projected budget shortfall. "You will not be able to have Social Security with this guy in office because he's destroying the economics of our country. And that includes Medicare, by the way, and American seniors are going to be in big trouble. I made a promise that I will always keep Social Security, Medicare. We always will keep it. We never will cut it," he said. The comments came after Trump, in an interview with CNBC, answered a question about Social Security, Medicare and Medicaid by saying that, There is a lot you can do in terms of entitlements, in terms of cutting, and in terms of also the theft and the bad management of entitlements, tremendous bad management of entitlements. There's tremendous amounts of things and numbers of things you can do. Trump also continued to criticize Biden over his handling of the border and the migrant crisis. And he laced into Dolan, calling him a weak rhino, a Republican in name only, and accused him of trying to become the next Mitt Romney. He also criticized the Dolan family, which owns Cleveland's baseball team, for changing its name from the Cleveland Indians to the Cleveland Guardians. Trump was joined at the rally by Ohio Sen. J.D. Vance and South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, who have both stumped with Moreno and are considered potential vice presidential candidates.
As you leave the page, kindly hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thank you.